Buddha universe and NëiNsensiCaL universe. The end of this one gets a little intense. I just ended it about 2 minutes ago. And if you get triggered easily by things in the world right now, then I suggest you just quit right here. Otherwise, it's an hour of endurance. I'll give you that if you make it to the end. I'm impressed. But I'm okay. I promise. And you are too. I love you. Bye.
Xin chào universe. And xin chào Vietnam. And good, well, it's almost midnight. Good late evening to the universe that speaks English. That would be a lot of you, even if you learned to say Romanian, and thus, instead of saying sing chao, as they do in Vietnam, you say buna, which to me is cool enough just as a way to say a greeting, buna, but it includes, in its proper spelling, that character A that has the little angled hat that it wears. That's a Romanian character, I guess, because I just use it to be playful, but Romania uses it to say Buna to each other. So, Xin chào, Vietnam, and Buna, Romania. Catching up on some of those hello universes that I'm behind on. And let's see, how many downloads? Romania, I think, has like 28 downloads, which would be exactly 28 times more than come from the state of Vermont, the state of Maine, and the state of Montana. And would be 14 times more than come from the state of Wyoming and the state of Alaska. So Romania, doing some work. Vietnam, I don't know, like 3. Those, I'm sure, were mistakes or 1 second robot downloads, but Xin chào, Vietnam. I have an ex-girlfriend from Vietnam who I dated for a year, but she was my bad luck charm. So, needless to say, that was a year of not so good luck. Pause. Pose. You know, if I had to give my my weed stash name here as it's entering its final phase of viability, it would definitely be Durban Poison. Boy, did I buy a lot of Durban Poison. And White, well, not White Widow, but Cindy 99. I wish I had more White Widow, but having no job still, and I think the dumbest thing I've ever done, I have done during this job search. And I figured it out yesterday. And it's a mistake I've been making for 3 weeks. And it's a severe mistake. And I find it incredulous. For once, that word's actually exactly what I mean. I find it incredulous that I'm having these stumble-bumble moments in my attempt to secure some level of productive money acquisition through work. And never have I experienced any kind of headwind here ever. So to literally be throwing a bunch of random bear traps in front of myself and then blindfolding myself and then crawling through that territory to see how much damage I can take. I don't know. Universe, if this is your idea of making 2024 a lot more hilarious than 2023 was, well, I can be the butt of the joke for a year, but next year it's all about how hilarious it is when you're the butt of the joke, universe. Wait, when is the universe the butt of the joke? Interesting dilemma not to have to think about right now, because, man, I'm just so high. I'm high on these vaporizer cartridges that I don't even know what they are. I mean, I know they're one of 11 different things, but the fact that I've discombobulated all that into an order of who knows what's in which case, yeah, it's just weed, right? But it's weed that has me rather stoned, like eyes drooping stoned, that and fatigue. But between the two, well, this could be a shorty. Pause. On pause. All right. So during that last break, I was feeling good about Danny DeVito meeting Rhea Perlman. Don't know why. I was reveling in my stopped by my parents' house today to find my mom in carnival mode, literally painting, and not like the house, but painting on an easel. And my dad was nowhere to be seen. So of course she was in a good mood. Not that my dad is a dick. He's an asshole. But he is the kind of presence that tends to smother my mother. No smothers brothers word syncopation intended. But seeing her in full creative burst is always a gift from coincidence, because I don't get it very often, so it's more coincidence than anything else. But good on you, Mom. All right, that's enough family notes. The real point of consternation that frankly kept me from even starting yesterday is I'm still on YouTube for what, another 4 hours, maybe 4 days, 4 weeks at the most. And what is gnawing at me here isn't even the level of suppression and censorship that YouTube's algorithm will naturally apply to any of my statements or recorded messages with reckless abandon, and rightly so. I am not on YouTube because YouTube doesn't want me. And I think we're cool with this. I don't really want YouTube. But a dominion or a square for the public to assemble and speak their mind and do so uncensored and untethered by any restriction other than the natural association of free speech working as it should in Congress with thoughts across time and space. Well, I guess Rumble's about the only place that sort of qualifies in that grand scale. And in the local scale, obviously, we still have face-to-face. But YouTube is no longer a player of interest. It's like, do you want to show up in the Google results? Well, then go work for Variety and Fortune magazine. Do you want to show up in the Google News results? Go work for CNN and BBC and CBS. Right, Laura Levin? And toe the line and be the well-heeled but well-recognized and well-fed member of what is becoming less and less the polite society among us, as infighting for what scraps of prestige or relevancy are starting to mount in even the sectors of entertainment, like the newsrooms. But vicious though the tearing of America's soul apart from its better self has been, well, I can't say that some of the comeuppance isn't a little fun to watch. And I'm not rooting for anybody's day to be bad. I'm not rooting for Netanyahu's day to be good, but I just want people in their fully realized human embrace of destiny, purpose, and fulfillment, and the look that radiates when it's realized. So, besides Lara Logan, yeah, still looking. Pause. Unpause. And you know who took a major step toward those lofty perches today was my mom. If you think you are deserving of all that creative energy, love, every second of life, well, then perched you will be. So carry on with bad self, Mom, and everybody else who today had a creative, expressive moment of true self-realization. I applaud you all. Those moments are rare and to be treasured and will always be a part of your soul. Pause. Unpause. Okay. It's almost, what day? Wednesday? Today's Tuesday, right? What day is today? Yeah, it's Tuesday. So tomorrow's Wednesday the 6th, which happens here in 12 minutes. And today is Tuesday the 5th, I'm hoping. And grounding back in reality here, I'm going to work forward with what spurred this entire enterprise of self-revelation on was a nagging character in my dream life, repetitive character, persistent character, whose compulsion to have me get my message out became almost the kind of thing that I would regret going to sleep thinking, I don't want to run into her tonight. And it wasn't so much that I wasn't willing to do this, to create this content, as it were, but all my early attempts were either with a co-pilot or in video format, and just not me. It was always something that I was attempting to be so that I could be on TV. And I don't know that this isn't what ultimately has me running away from YouTube. And it's not even that, at this point, I think my voice personally has been established enough with the 2 years plus of nonstop diatribe that I could do it in front of a camera without the second thought of I'm being videoed. But in the initial phase, all I could think was, am I presenting myself correctly? Am I looking into the camera? You know, there were distractions that kept me from just falling into the deep end of my brain's content navigation tangles. So knowing that was the point of unveiling where my truest personage in this reality 8675309 Earth as it exists right now, and has not been, as far as I know, Mandela'd in some wacky way in the last 3 or 4 days. So that much consistency is about the whole bubble of truth that I walk around in, because too many inexplicable WTF moments of life have just plainly emerged and forced their way into my processing of how it all works and what our places are in it. And this isn't just in mystical dreamland. This is very much in day-to-day reality, including all that changing of the past. So what I am, I have no idea. I am 50-50, almost dead even on being the only player in the game versus a programmed non-player character. There are moments when I can see us all as agents of self-emergence coming into a particular time and place in history where our test of what we're truly capable of will have us breaking through a barrier of denial that limits our current ability to even exist with the universe. And that is about as delusional a thought as I could have told you would be spoken by me in 2010. In 2010, if you'd have told me, well, what will your 2024 most direct message be? My guess would have been that the evildoers are living among us. Well, okay, that was a new revelation for me kind of in 2010. And it certainly hit the fan in 2012. And it's not that that's even a revelation, because as we started to become a global population, well, it's sort of now all of us in the same big pot of outcome. And if we're going to harp the weather over in the Pacific Ocean, and that creates a tsunami that might work its way to Asian lands, well, damn it, we should own up to that. I'm not saying America did that. There's one conspiracy theory I don't buy into, that we somehow, by setting off some energetic device in Antarctica, created that tsunami that, well, that ruined Christmas Day for almost half the world. And if the other half of the world didn't have their 26th ruined because they were on the other side of the international date line when it happened, well, you know, one of the worst days of my life for this planet to endure was clearly that day. So to allow even a hint of malfeasance of the, well, you know, one of the things that would cause something like that is if we were to just yank our wad over in Antarctica and just create some sort of electrical thing that would then flow up through the earth and then make it all go jellyish until it earthquaked and then it went tsunami. Okay. There are limits to what our capability in this current circumstance to devastate the populations of any land through weather events. No, we're not there yet. We may be clumsy enough to accidentally trip into something that we didn't intend that goes haywire, but I don't think we're at the level of creating earthquake level. Why am I talking about this? Do I have a reason to be here? Why am I talking about Antarctica? No idea. Because somehow that has to do with being on YouTube. You can talk about Antarctica on YouTube, can't you? I mean, in some ways, I'm sure you can't talk about all of Antarctica, but you must be able to talk about most of it. Yeah. Instead of persisting in mediocrity, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to get sleep. I'm going to quit knocking shit over by the phone. And then tomorrow we're going to get into what exactly happens when you give up even the idea of yourself for something bigger than you. Is there a time when it's absolutely critical that you face this moment of challenge with, if necessary, your life? Do those potential obstacles reveal themselves as you come to be whoever it is you're supposed to be in this journey of humanity on this planet? And if so, well, what trigger, or should I say, what flag post is worth leaning into, even if the finishing result is you will perish? Well, I have two, but if I get into them now, I'll be talking about Antarctica again, so we'll save them for tomorrow. Pause. Pause. All right, on the off chance that this 19 minutes and now, well, almost 19 seconds of recorded time is so lackluster that it has to go as the second half, because otherwise I'll put you through this monotony for no reason, but if at least tomorrow I can sum up those 2 salient points about what it's worth to die for in a cause of noble, resolute standing against this force of oppression, well, that's awfully high-minded of me to think that's going to go down. But if it goes down and this turns out to be the inferior part, well, I'm glad I put this part second because, I mean, it's obviously the terrible part.
Xin chào, universe, and a xin chào to Vietnam. Well, I believe there might be 2 or 3 downloads total of the misappropriation project I call It's All My Fault. And Bună, Romania. I don't think, does Romania roll their R's? I do not know. So, Romania, in case you do not roll your R's, Banu. Oh, did I just say Banu? It's Bună, Bună, Bună. I can't believe I just blew Bună. Saying hello. I wonder if Banu is goodbye. Well, if I had a language, that's how I'd do it. Pause. Unpause. Actually, would I do that? Because that's too close of a relationship for words that have opposite meanings. Hello and goodbye should be words that sound very different, like, for instance, goodbye and hello. Pause. Unpause. But Banu and Bună, while very clear in tonation, could easily, with my mumble ears, be misheard. So, no, it'd be more like, Bună, Romania! And then goodbye would be more like, Hachu, Romania! And then if you sneezed, obviously you'd be saying goodbye to people. Pause. Unpause. All right, 123 into this one. Not the 20 minutes of the other one. The aforementioned or soon-to-come version of events that you are either privy to or about to realize. Either way, it's now 8:01 on the 6th of March, and I got some sleep. I've been up since 5:30, listening to music nonstop until 7 minutes ago. And I didn't know why, but I kept just having the next song play and the next song play and the next song play, and I only skipped like maybe 4 songs. And in all of that, the whole point was for me to hear The Kid Is Hot Tonight by Loverboy. Seriously, I'm with you. What? Yeah. Because as soon as that song played, I'm like, oh, yeah, I needed to hear this song. And then bam, I was done. After 150 minutes of listening to music since 5:30 this morning, all I did was sit in my bed and listen to music. I didn't do anything else. I kind of stared around at my room while listening to music. So once Loverboy played, I knew I was ready to get up. Pause. Pause. I wonder if this is... oh, excuse me. Oh, but... man, that wasn't even for weed. That was for yogurt. Anyhow, I wonder if this is what they mean when they say patience will pay off. Because I was patiently thinking, am I just going to listen to my entire collection of music? And then what? Hit repeat? I mean, what am I doing here? Why am I still lying in bed listening to music? 2 hours later, and then Loverboy played, and I was like, oh, that's why. Seriously, how fucked up is that? And yet, how rewarding is that? To actually feel like this sort of indulgence in my morning of nothingness other than allowing music to overwhelm me. Well, it in fact had a point. And if the omen is the kid is hot tonight, well, I don't care if it's me or somebody else in the universe, but somebody is in a position to fucking make something of their creative energy today. So, bravo, universe. Glad to know that that's the mood of the day. Oh, and I wonder if this wouldn't be worth going back to law school. Not that I ever went. I just paid my tuition deposit. Never attended a class, never even went to Boston College. Well, I did go to Boston College, but not as a law student. And I didn't go to Boston College as anything other than a guy trying to party and get laid. But I did go to Boston College. And when I was Why am I talking about this? Oh yeah. So when I decided law school wasn't for me, it was a decision that I had made 2 years before I admitted it to myself. But when I finally admitted it to myself and decided I'm not going to Boston College at all, not even to party and get laid, and certainly not to go to law school, well, I didn't see anything in the legal field that demanded I participate at the level I would have been indentured to the hierarchy of legal ease, and not meaning the language, meaning the entire structure of law and order in this country. Somewhere, somebody was slapping me upside the head with some ham and saying, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And I said, oh, I agree. I just got to fucking give them $2,000 first so that I can feel good about it. And then this morning I thought, wait a second though. If I did go to law school, I wonder if I could somehow have enough credibility to argue that our entire punishment system is in fact cruel and unusual for one simple factor. We separate our prisoners from music. And to me, a life in a human meat suit that doesn't include the full-on integration of music, well, that's a cruel and unusual life, to say the least. Pause. Pause. I have numerous times said that I believe, well, this is not on my list of beliefs like I believe craps can be beaten. That's a different level of belief. This is more of a, I don't know, it would be cool if it was like this, so I'm going to believe that it could be this way. That the universe is here. This entire construct exists to create sound. And music, being the resonant integration of harmonic tones, is the single most elevated oral experience. AURAL. Oh man, I have like 5 oral jokes in my head and I'm not going to say any of them. Pause. Pause. Because I'm on YouTube, the tube of you, which doesn't like it when you make jokes about oral, or even talk about oral, or even suggest that oral is something we're going to discuss later. Pause. Pause. Okay, so I went to the store last night, but I fucking forgot bananas. And that's, of course, what I want to eat right now. So, hey, you know what we could test? Let's test the pause button and how long I can persist with pausing the recording. I'll be running to King Soopers to get some bananas. It's now 7:31 on the old recording meter here. So in your time, I'll be back in nanoseconds. But in my time, I'm guessing 20, 30 minutes. Pause. Pause. And I haven't gotten to the store yet. But I don't want to lose that thought about the cruel and unusual punishment that it is to separate a human being from musical source. What if we just gave all prisoners MP3 players? I mean, and let them cultivate a library of music in their own network of internal processors that would be their own radio station. Or just, like, if you really want to get people back into lives of soul alignment, not that people in prison aren't there. So many of them are just in for drugs, it's ridiculous. But if you just want to give an opportunity for that circumstance to not completely destroy a soul, well, I think music's the way. And since we have technology now that makes that literally as easy as putting a $5 Chinese device in someone's hand, well, at what point are we the cruel ones? Pause. Pause. Mission accomplished. Oh, I thought I wouldn't eat all this. Bananas in mouth. Pause. Pause. I would so like to get back to the recording, but the Allman Brothers' Jessica just started playing, so I'll be gone for about 7.5 minutes. Pause. Pause. I mean, wow. I fucking love that song. Way to go, Allman Brothers, or officially the Allman Brothers Band. The song Jessica is a treat among musical treats that I constantly refer back to. I love it so. I love it so. I should learn to play that. Well, I think that's mostly guitar. Anyway, I do have a guitar. It's mostly a decoration, but I do have one. Pause. Pause. To start the Bixby program, press and hold the Bixby key. That is the single most annoying message I get on my Galaxy S8, which I sometimes call a Galaxy S7. I might have owned a Galaxy S7 at one point, but I have owned a Galaxy S6 for sure, a 5 for sure, a 4 for sure, many 4s in fact, a 3, a 2, and maybe even a 1 in retro acquisition. The 2 is the one that I gave away that I wish I could have back. I love that too. But, you know, I also found the LG, what was it, the V4? Wow, was that a great phone. I would have that phone again right now. Phone nostalgia. The thing YouTube lacks entirely, because nobody cares about what you think of an LG V4, especially one that's only available in battered condition on Craigslist. Pause. Unpause. All right, I think I'm ready to persevere here and quit pausing, unpausing, and going to the store and shit. But that means I've got to come correct about the elephant in the room that is the 20 minutes of recording that is other than this currently 11 minutes of recording. Because the 20 minutes of recording that is somewhere either before or after this, hard to say, I don't know where it's going to end up yet, I did last night while I was really physically exhausted, plus I was just stoned, which I am again, but a different kind of stone because I have energy. Last night I didn't. So I think the conversation was just drilling down into one of those rocky crevasses where they put the Sandy Hook exploration of insanity that was concocted by, I'm guessing, the NSA. Although, I don't know, there were so many government cars there that day, it's hard to know which agency was in charge. I think that they had to all have been in on it. It's just the scale and scope of operation that was so shocking. Oh my God! Oh, like I said, he is my kid. He is my kid. I know. I can't believe what he did either. But I have to love him. He's my kid. That's how I feel about you, CIA. Not that I gave birth to you, but I'm a man. How would I give birth? Well, I would become a woman. And well, no, you can't become a woman if you're a man. I mean, transgenderism. Let's not get in that sticky thorn bush of Brer Rabbit briar patchiness. Instead, let's stay away from Disney references. Okay, Uncle Remus? Yeah, old baby. And let's instead head to, and please know that was satire and parody. Please, please, please know that. Don't be so literal in this world. Recognize comedy when it's in your face. You know what I have to recognize because it's been in my face so much that I'm like, God damn it, I fucking owe her. And that's Miss Britney Spears. Okay. I have a soft spot for certain pop stars. George Michael. And not, well, maybe in a gay way for him. I'm not gay though. Like, even George Michael would make me barf if I tried to go down on him. And we weren't going to talk about oral. I remember that part, I think. Or was that something I was doing? That might have been something. Anyway, have I finished the thing about the other 20 minutes? My point is, I was going to try to redeem myself because I have a topic of interest. And then I have a whole bunch of other shit to talk about. So I thought I could make something interesting. I just didn't want to put any energy into failing at that and maybe getting into territory about Antarctica and seismic waves. That is territory nobody needs to venture into. And since I've been there now in both halves of the recording, well, I gotta have a moment where I say no more Antarctica. So, no more Antarctica. All right, I heard you. I didn't go there intentionally. I just stumbled there, like everybody does. Back to the other recording. Is it lackluster? Probably. I haven't listened to it. But given what my whole frame of mind was, it can't be any gem of renown. So if this attempt to recover
what has been probably diminished, at least in, say, a comparison to candle wattage or something. That's a little flicker of a flame that you say, not giving me much warmth. Whereas I was going to come out with a whole bonfire here of the Vanities or something else that Thomas Wolfe might have written. Was he the one? I am sidetracking desperately because I'm high. So back to the original music thoughts. Britney Spears, Oops, I Did It Again, and Baby One More Time might be both in my top 10 favorite pop songs. I mean, seriously, I love both those songs so much, and for such different reasons. And not because I'm fucking lonely. Although I do think that song has a certain up-tempoedness to it. If you are a lonely dude. If you're a lonely dude, one of the things that might get you out of... I can't speak to that. I just don't know how to feel lonely. I know how to feel alone, but alone is a choice and lonely is a circumstance. If you're lonely, it's a mental game that you're putting yourself through. I'm not sure listening to Britney Spears is going to help you. But only those guys, everybody, which is a lot of guys, but everybody else. Well, I don't know how women feel about Britney Spears because she's got all that fucking eye candy shit going on. But that's just production. That's just selling records. The music... If you never saw a fucking video of her, or her in that plaid skirt that changed colors in this universe, well, I don't know. What would you think if you never saw Britney Spears and only heard her music? I would still say she'd be top 5 then. I mean, I don't necessarily downgrade her because of all that pedophile shit. And she's not a pedophile. I'm saying they made her look like a 16-year-old kid in her videos. Even when I was 30, you could tell that. But aside from the sexy selling of childlike imagery that Hollywood is prone to, and use Britney Spears as a prime example of that in action, it was the breaking of her spirit. The literal public meltdown. Her exhibition of her fractures. And as someone who's fractured in ways as significant as Britney has done publicly, it made me feel the atonement of her overexposure all in the surreal moment of her unjustly paying the penalty. Completely unjustly. It's just the machine grinds people into literal meatballs. And so in those moments of her life, it was hard to listen to her music because her music is not that. Her music is just fun. And those times in Britney's life looked like anything but fun. So if I had only ever heard her, none of that is ever in my head. So those two songs might be literally 3 and 4 or 2 and 5. I don't think they could knock Fame 90 off number 1. I don't know. Maybe. Oh, Don't You Forget About Me. Well, that's top 5. That's not number 1. I don't know. The number 1 pop song of your life, can you name it off the top of your head? It would take me probably a year and a half to come up with that. Pause. Unpause. But it would not take me a year and a half to put Britney Spears, Oops, I Did It Again, and Baby One More Time, both in my top 10. I love them that much. They make me dance. They make me smile. They make me work harder when I'm exercising. They are the definition of feel-good music to me. Just like Feral Happy. Embarrassingly, but true. Pause. Because I'm happy. Okay, I won't. Pause. Pause. Well, here's the thing. We're almost to 20 minutes here at 1855, which means I got a lot still to talk about, and the other one was only 20 minutes. So it really should be the second part. Or should this, as you look at the fact that I tell you it's only 20 minutes of aggravation, and then there's 38 more minutes of talky talk? Well, that's a lot of investment if he fucking fails again. So do I trust? No, I don't trust him. Delete. Oh, I see your point. Lead with your powerful, persuasive argument. And then if you have to, and you're called out on it by the press, deflect, block, and lie first. But if it just comes down to telling them the fucking truth, well, admit that you've got better material if you want to look at other places. Yeah, we're a little weak there. Is that America's game? Don't look here, look there. Well, I don't know. But I'm going to be rough on America today. And I think I should forewarn you. Because I think my logic puts me in a position of inescapable action. Or does it? I don't know. This is one of those conundrums of life I've never experienced. To actually be facing this choice, I suppose, as choices go. And so here's the thing. You probably haven't thought about this choice. At least not in the way I'm going to lay it out. So if you don't want to have a choice to think about today that's going to fucking eat at you a little bit, don't listen to anything I'm going to say in the next 10 to 15 minutes. Just go find the other 20 minutes. Call it a 40-minute recording and live happily in your I don't want to think about hard things bubble. Because once I thought about this, I thought, I wish I could unthink that. But I can't. So, let's hit the vaporizer. Pause. Pause. In today's quick headlines, all audio effects provided by actually CNN. Yeah, I get that shit from CNN. That's how far their ship has sunk. I just wanted to speak a little bit about the Sweet 16. It has become a semi-tradition in my own tradition-starved life to use this period of time to mow through some level of competition in, say, culture. And I'm mulling this year of doing an expanded set. Yeah. Here's my thought. We go to 32. Well, me goes to 32. And on the left half, in the west and south brackets, we have the shit that's pretty insufferable about dudes. Oh, yeah, 16 of those. And then on the other side of the bracket, 32 complete bracket. So 16 insufferable characteristics about women. Which then would battle down to the most insufferable characteristic about men and the most insufferable characteristic about women in a head-to-head battle of what is the single most insufferable characteristic about either sex. Yes, that's my thought. Now, 32 is fucking ambitious. Maybe I should just do a Sweet 16 8 on 8. But 8, I don't know. Couldn't you come up with 10 things that are insufferable about your own sex? And easily come up with 10 about the other sex? So, 16 is not that many. And it's only March 6th. I don't really do this for another 10 days. I think I could do this. I mean, this is not the kind of scale and scope that would be a full 64. Now that would be ambitious. Next year, if I exist, maybe. No chance. Because if I expose myself with 16 insufferable traits about my own gender, well, what am I setting myself up for except for a bunch of dudes saying, fuck you, bro, or, yeah, well, you forgot this one, or you forgot this one, or you forgot this one, or, fuck you, bro. I mean, there will be nothing but those comments. Because how can you succeed in annihilating your own gender's bubble of insufferability? How can you help see what is hard to be seen because seeing it is not fun? Well, see, that is a lot comfier conversation than the one that would be about me ascribing certain traits and values and observational characteristics to women, not as one, which is territory that I don't even know if I want to walk a little bit into. Like, maybe this should just be the insufferable ways that you have to put up with men, the Sweet 16. And then next year, having succeeded a little bit in attacking my own gender for its own biases and insecurities, well, maybe I could
Fetter what? Literally, where is that word even? Where did that come from? What word were you thinking? Was it fraternize? Seriously, fetter? Maybe your worst mistake in a year. All right, I promised myself I would acknowledge my poor choices of words in real time so as to publicly humiliate myself enough that I don't fetter on about something irrelevant now, right? What was I talking about? I felt like it had value. Damn it. Fetter is that kind of presence. It just ruins everything you were up to. Give me a second to think, and maybe it'll come back to me. Damn it, should I stop and go listen? I don't want to let Fetter have this power over me. I'm so derailed right now. This is embarrassing. But, oh, wait, yes, no. Next year could be 8 men, 8 women. Right? Yeah, before you go full 16 women. And when you do 16 women, of course you can have 16 men. It'll never just be all women. I would never have a contest about what the most annoying thing about women is. No. But both genders? Well, not at least we're both splashing in the same pool. Now we can at least have some fun while we're mocking ourselves and each other in reverse mirror reflexive fashion. Okay, it already does sound like a bad idea. You're right. Why can't I just have fun, just having observational comedy? Why is that against the fucking rules again? It used to be this way, right? Somewhere like Nazi Germany? Didn't they keep comedy at a low? I don't know, maybe. Okay, well, if I don't do that, then what? How about the Sweet 16 unbelievable things about my tennis game that I don't even still believe, but they're true? No, that would be too much about me. So, well, can I pull off the male-female battle royale to the final game, the championship game, where Carmelo Anthony somehow takes Syracuse to the fucking championship? He's not that good. Trust me, he's going to be a nugget. He's not that good. Pause. Pause. Okay, you want to know how far my sports fandom has fallen? I don't know if Carmelo ever won a ring. I mean, I know he was a Knick for a while, but then he probably bounced around to some other teams. He was never a player I was going to follow after he was not a Nugget. He was the least, goddamn. I mean, we got Elway, and then we paid for it because we never drafted worth of shit. Well, until we got Joker. I don't know. Carmelo was just, he was B+ capped basketball at its most ready. You were never going to have an 18 with him involved. Never. So I doubt he won a championship. If he did it as a part-time player in the twilight of his career, but there was no way he was a vital part of an organization that won anything. Unlike, say, who? Hakeem Olajuwon? No, that's too much talent. I'd have to think about that for a while. Who's a player not so good that they can win you a championship, but on that second tier that you want on your team because with him, you now have championship integrity ready to go. Even if he hasn't won anything yet. You just have that mindset. I don't know sports well enough to know who that is anymore. But see, that's what sports brings you. The opportunity to witness people in that metamorphosis, embracing what they're capable of doing in real time and believing in themselves simultaneously enough to get there. When sports provides that story arc, it is worth watching. Totally. Pause. Pause. Okay. These are going to be quick. All right. Why is weed a creative firecracker? Okay. I think I have a great example of why this is the case. The More Cowbell skit on Saturday Night Live with what's his name? Christian. Wait, what is his name? Oh my God. Can I not think of his name? The guy that was on the boat when that guy killed that woman in the 60s? Anyway, Christopher Walken. Christopher Walken, More Cowbell, on Saturday Night Live, is taking a moment of recognition. Hey, have you ever noticed how much cowbell is in the song? That some guy made while stoned, and then thought, yeah, why is that? Seriously, like, think about it. Think about how much cowbell presence there is, and then think about who had to say, you know what would work for this song is some cowbell. Wait, what? Yeah, trust me, dude. Go get it. We're going to throw some cowbell in here and watch how the song comes alive. Like, you don't have that thought without being fucking high. I'm sure whoever fucking brought the cowbell in was also high. It's just weed brings connections to the minute. And for that, we love you. Pause. Pause. All right, we're down to 3. And that is, I wonder what it was like to be in the Breakfast Club. And I believe Judd Nelson was the only one that was even 20. And I believe he was 20. He might have been 21. But the rest of them were teenagers. In other words, 19, 18, 17. And I think Michael Anthony Hall was 15 when he made that movie. Which means he was, and spent his teen years in literal superstardom. Superstardom. In his teenage years. And yeah, it fucked with him. But he made some of teenage comedy's finest moments come alive. So you got to appreciate everything that Michael Anthony Hall represents for cinematic comedy. But the ensemble, Breakfast Club, with Ali Sheedy, Molly Ringwald, Emilio Estevez, Judd Nelson. Is that it? 5 of them? I think so. And Michael Anthony Hall. It was Anthony Michael Hall? No, Michael Anthony Hall. I don't fucking know. I don't even care anymore. It's been Mandela, even if I were to go look. But they were teenagers that hit it huge in the biggest movie for teens in maybe a decade. And 5 years because it's teenagers, so feel like it was compressed. But I remember that movie was so big when it came out in my high school years that it was the center of conversation for a month or two. It was pinpoint comic book philosophy of I'm finding myself trapped and isolated in a world full of individualism, and just hit a chord exactly like it needed to happen. And I'm sure it's happening today with ensemble casts today that are just falling into a huge level of stardom. But those 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, those 5, and frankly, put the vice principal in it. The janitor could have been anybody. But the vice principal has as much in making that movie watchable and rewatchable as anybody in the cast does by far, if not being the number one player in that department. And so for that movie to have been so enormous that they all became superstars, while Ali Sheedy kind of shied away from that. But she made some of those like later action movies that were, I'm sure, good paychecks. But her and Molly Ringwald and Emilio Estevez and Judd Nelson, they weren't the comedians that Anthony Michael Hall was, or Michael Anthony Hall. Michael Anthony Hall. Fuck, I don't know. But chicks can't hold, they smoke. I still say that now and again, even though I know chicks is derogatory toward women. It's got a little bit of a classic fuck you to the man to me. And not that chicks can't hold, they smoke. Chicks can hold, they smoke. They can definitely hold, they smoke. So I just wanted to think about how little opportunity sometimes you have to get ready for what life's going to give you. And those 5, well, they're a great example of life just turning around for you overnight. And for all of you. I mean, they must still call each other because only the 5 of them know what it was like to be them. And what was being them, it was life-changing in the same way for all of them. So that connection, boy, to have it with 4 other people, what a club you would immediately have knit at the tightest and most extreme circumstance. I mean, I'm not saying that becoming a movie star is an extreme or tight circumstance in the overall humanity of life, but in the ways that America becomes tight and extreme, Those are like top of the list. Okay, so that gets rid of that one. And that leaves us with, what does laying your life down represent? And what are the two things I say that are worth dying for? And that's the same discussion. And then once life wasn't so hard, it gained lots of texture. And we started having discussions about, well, is it different to be in your 30s or in your 40s? Or are they a lot alike? Where's the overlap and where's the disconnect? These were not conversations that were happening in the 1700s, at least not among the masses, because the masses were still figuring out what to do with the pile of pig shit that had to go somewhere. And the human shit had to go somewhere too. So now there's a shit problem. So I don't have time to think about what the fucking nuance between 30s and 40s are. Frankly, I'm going to die in my 50s anyway, so let's just call it the hardest decades I'm going to have, because after those two, I'll be dead. Okay, that's a conversation topper for sure. But in the 80s, and probably into the 90s, or maybe in the 90s, I don't know, shows like 30-something became popular because, oh, there's so much nuance about being 30 that we can make a whole episode about it, and then make a series out of that, and then make a conversational overtone about people's lives that are just regular, but because they're regular, they're interesting, or something. I don't know what 30-something was about. I didn't watch it, but those shows started showing up, in addition to the lawyer shows and the ambulance shows and the what else shows? There's got to be romance shows, right? Or something like that. And then sports and news. Pause. Anyway, my thought is, well, what if just slack time, just time idly thinking about nonsense, is the great stalling mechanism that has us all stuck in idle? Could that be it? That we just have too much free time to fucking dilly-dallying? I mean, okay, yeah, I'm talking about myself again, but I might be talking about somebody else listening. Might be. Oh, might be. Pause. Unpause. All right. I'm fully lubricated for this part, having just consumed some of this strawberry what? What are those little things? Starburst flavored water. I have found that if you just use double the water, it tastes great. It's just the right amount. I'm sure it's full of chemicals that are killing me, but it tastes sweet, and I need sweet. Otherwise, I'll make cookies. You know what? If I could make one thing good for you, it would definitely be cookies. Oh, if I could live on just cookies and they were good for me, like tuna. Yep. I would do it all day long. But back to reality. And that is, what does laying your life down represent? Okay. I know that given all this time to think about it, you probably are like, well, yeah, you lay your life down for freedom, for justice, for the wrongs of society. I mean, there are causes about which your life has enough value to be in play. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I guess. I don't know if I'm into that. I don't really know. So much of that shit is just made up. I don't know. I don't know if my life is really worth any of that shit. My life. You know what I'm saying? My fucking life. Everything about me going forward is immediately nullified when I die. That's it. That's stage exit left. I'm done. No more imprint. So if the spoken word is being censored to the point that it's time for free speech absolutists to make a point in counter-argument to the one that's being made against it, well, what good are you dead? Honestly. What have you won? Have you won the fight? Are we now in a position because of your death that free speech... I said speech, even if it sounded like a foreign language that I was struggling to get through. I meant speech, free speech. If that is absolutely guaranteed going forward for the rest of time in the human meat suit encounters that come with 8675309 Earth, then yes, laying my life down is worth it. But in what circumstance could I ever have that foreknowledge? None. There is no position upon which your termination has value over your sustained, continued fight for better. Except when it comes to defending your family. Absolutely. It's a no questions, no argument. By default, I will lay down my life to save a family member in a situation of life or death. And not even consciously. But that decision doesn't have to be made. It's been made. And I will react as such, just like any other human being with a soul does. Your family members matter more than anything else in the universe, because that's just the way it is. And the idea of laying down your life for any of them, up and down the chain, maybe not so much all the way out to the left and right, but definitely up and down the chain. Well, yeah, no brainer. That has way more validity than laying down my life for the concept of freedom. What is it to be free? That's an argument in itself. So, what is not arguable is a family member in need is a life laid down indeed. So the other exception is a child in need. I see a child drowning. I'm going to jump in and do everything I can to save that kid, including die myself, because the kid's life is worth it. I can't think. I'm not going to break down here, but I can't think of a more noble intent of exit than offering help to children in need. So my question that's made it really hard to think is, how can children be starving to death now, and there is no countermeasure against it? If I were to take 100 bottles of baby formula and strap it to my body and enter Gaza, what would happen to me is I would immediately be shot down by an IVF sniper with some grisly death count on his wall. And justifiably so in his mind. It is to the point where I'm having a real hard time figuring out what is the difference between the kids in Gaza and some kid drowning in a river. They're both glaringly in need of help, and there's no countermeasure. It is tearing me apart, because until enough resolve against what Israel is creating, a true atrocity in the 21st century that is being witnessed in real time by all of us. Oh God, if you knew the energy going back all the way to how this stems, it's just so horrible. I can't even. This is the worst of humanity manifesting right now, and we're all participating. It breaks me up. I don't know what to do. It seems so simple, but the answers are just elusive. Oh, I hate to be seen as weak when I can feel the pain. I know what the misery is. I can be overwhelmed by it all if I choose to allow it to happen. And anything else feels like I am muffling that side of what I know is just there to be availably connected to. Disconnecting from it. It feels somehow like abandonment. If there's that much pain in the world to be shared, why aren't we doing everything we can to stop it? Sometimes being human sucks.